Hey everybody, it's Annette Green here today. Welcome back to my channel. I have a wonderful project to share with you today with a tutorial. Yay! This is the newest collection out right now from Graphic 45, Ephemera Queen. And I have created this wonderful mini album that gatefolds out, but it's actually two albums to create this one big album. And I'll show you that in just a minute. But it is such a fun album with this big front closure and these inside pages that are filled with all kinds of goodies and really showcases the paper collection beautifully. And we have this built-in pocket here with these inserts and all kinds of great things. So let me show you what goes into making something like this, and then we'll get on with the tutorial. Okay, let's talk supplies. So if you're interested in making this, this is what it took to make it. One 12 by 12 paper collection, the collection pack of Ephemera Queen, which inside, of course, you get the 2 sheets of the sticker sets. So 6 by 12 sticker sheets, 2 of those for all your embellishing. So I used a lot of that, almost all of that. I also used the 12 by 12 patterns and solids in Ephemera Queen, which are beautiful. I used the die cut assortment from Ephemera Queen, which if you don't know about these already, these are great, already die cut, thick cardstock, beautiful embellishments, just easy to pop on your projects and get things done in a jiffy and just make them so beautiful. So I used that too. I created, like I said, it was 2 albums created into one big one from 2 of these ATC Tag and Pocket albums from Graphic 45 in the ivory. I used 2, one on each side. And so you will also need some thick chipboard. This is medium weight. You could use heavy weight. Thinner than this probably isn't going to do the job, but you will need at least a sheet of that. And then also some pretty ribbon. I used some golden May Arts ribbon for a lot of the tags. I used a little bit of lace just from the craft store, and a corner rounder, and of course, you know, all your paper crafting tools like adhesive and scissors and whatnot. So let me take you right into the tutorial, and you can make your own Ephemera Queen double album. Let's start by joining these 2 books together, and all I did here was I used some good strong sticky masking tape on the front side, the back side, across, all over the place, and we're going to cover all that up. So next we want to reinforce this area. We don't want to leave it like this. It's still a little bit flimsy in the middle, and we want that to be a little stronger. So I have cut 2 pieces of cardboard, thin cardboard. This is packaging from one of the paper pads. You can use a cereal box, whatever you have on hand, just nothing super thick, because it's just meant to put another layer in here before we add paper, just to make it a little more sturdy. So each of these pieces is 8 inches long by 4 15/16, so one little tick short of the 5-inch mark. So you'll need 2 of those. So I'm going to get those glued onto here and onto the back side next. Okay, and I have just used a good strong glue, 3-in-1, smeared it all over each of these pieces and got them on there. And as you can see, I use this side, doesn't matter, it's going to get covered up. So I just know that this already feels a lot stronger. To cover the back of the album, I'm going to use this pretty yellow with a little bit of a floral in it from the Patterns and Solids, and this is cut 8 inches by 12. And then I took my ruler and I marked from the bottom up 3.5 inches. I made a line here. That is going to create a pocket. We're going to actually slide this under here and line up the bottom of our album with that line. After we put adhesive from the line up, we're going to fold this up to make a pocket, and I'll show you that. So I'm going to take my good old 3-in-1, and it's a nice brand new bottle. Squeeze a bunch of glue on there just above that line, close to the edges but not all the way out. And I'm always very generous with adhesive. I don't want anything to come up on me in a year down the road. I want it to hold. So I'm using a lot. I'm scribbling it all over and getting close to the edges. Okay, now I'm going to take my album and I'm gonna gently slide this under here and line up the bottom edge of my album centered with that piece of cardboard we already laid in there. And I'm gonna glue this down, press really hard, and I'm gonna bring this around. And I did not score anything on purpose because this is a very thick edge over here. And if I scored it, that would make a single fold. And really, you need about almost 1/8 of an inch of thickness for this to comply with what you want to do. So I'm just folding it over. You can always take your bone folder and help it out at this point and do this on the edge and the whole bit. But I'm basically just getting that down there really well, and then I'm going to flip it over and give it a burnish on this side. And I'm not concerned if I see a little bit of that cardboard showing there because we're going to cover that up with maybe some lace or ribbon. We'll see. All right, and so the last step here will be to bring this up without any adhesive and just kind of get it used to where it's going to go. Give it a little soft fold. And then before I actually adhere anything down, this is a pocket, so I'm just going to put some adhesive here. But I want to round these two corners, so I'm going to do that real quick and ink the edges too. To build our fold over cover, where this one will overlap further, we need to do something different than just have these two joined together, butted together like this. So we're going to take another piece of cardboard, very thin cardboard, and it's going to come over here. So it's going to be 7 inches wide by that same 4 15/16 measure, and it's going to be about 1 inch away from overlapping over here. Now, you can't just do that because this will be very thin and the cover is very thick, so you need to cut an additional piece of some pretty much heavy to medium weight chipboard, 3 inches by the 4 15/16. So what you're going to do after we get some paper on here is we're going to glue this to here, and then that remaining part that's hanging over, we're going to reinforce with this so that hopefully these two are about the same height, so that it's one seamless piece. If it isn't, you can layer another piece of, let's say the cover, you can cut another little piece and lay that on there, whatever it takes to get you to where that builds up evenly. And then we're going to cover all this, so it'll look very nice and pretty and you'll never know that was there. I have used a corner rounder on 2 sides here, and I did the same with the extra little pieces that I'm going to have to add to build that up. But before I do that, I want to cut a piece of this other yellow from the Patterns and Solids, and this measures 8 1/4 by 6 1/4. So I'm going to use that to cover everything pretty and wrap it around the edges. So for right now, I'm just going to adhere this right into the middle. Remember to pay attention to the direction that your words are on here, because these 2 rounded corners are going to be on the right when you flip this over, and you don't want to put that on upside down, even though this looks like it's upside down, this cardboard, but that doesn't matter. So I've got that glued into the middle of there, and now I'm going to, first I'm just going to add the heavyweight, well, mine is medium weight chipboard. I get this on Amazon. Scrapbook stores carry it, I believe, depending on your store. So I'm just going to get that on here. And again, this is just to add some thickness to this layer over here, because this is the portion, this 3-inch portion is what's going to hang past your album cover. And so we want that to be pretty much even with the album cover itself. So for right now, I'll just do that one, and I'll let that dry for a minute. So next, to determine whether you need that one more thin piece of cardboard here, just take the cover, it doesn't matter which side really, just take the cover of the album and lay it next to that piece that you already had. And when you run your finger across, if you feel a bump where it goes down a little bit, then go ahead and add this. Mine did, so right now when I slide my finger across, it's nice and level. It feels really good. So I'm happy with that, and I'm gonna stop there. You may even have to add another one of these. It just depends on your situation. So next, what you're gonna do, if you're happy, is you're gonna take a ruler and a bone folder and just kind of give this a score. This one side, this is the straight side, not the rounded side. I'm gonna score that, and I'm gonna actually bring that on over, and I'm eventually gonna glue this down. I'm gonna trim this away so it's a little bit neater, but I am gonna glue this flat one down because it doesn't need to wrap around the front cover of the album, but these will here. And then of course this will come around the flap, but you'll see that in just a minute. I cut away these two corners nice and clean, and I'm going to adhere this flap down. Okay, so we're not going to put any kind of score mark around here for the same reason that we didn't earlier, so we can wrap it around our album cover. So this has this nice clean edge right here. That's what's going to line up over here. Now I'm going to flip everything over so I can see it from this side, and I can make sure that my cover and my little extra flap here are lining up. And that should put this paper right where it needs to be on this edge. And then we've got this rounded corner. As you can see, I went ahead and rounded these corners as well. We'll take care of that in just a minute, but I am going to get some adhesive for now on just the cover of my album, which is basically from here to here, without getting it onto the yellow paper right just yet. So I'm going to be pretty generous with the glue here. Get it kind of in that crack too, close to the edge. Okay, and then we're going to take our cover and we're going to just slide it right into place there and give it a good press. I will mention that the rounded corner is optional. It's a little more tricky to fold this in, but it can look very nice if you just take your time. So I'm going to zoom in. I've already done this corner up here, and I'll zoom in down here. And so what you can do is, rather than making a snip this way, we're going to make a little pie-shaped snip from there to there. And then we're going to do another one that's almost straight, almost 90-degree cut there, and then one here as well. So eventually we're going to get paper on here, and that's going to be covered up, but you will see a little bit of that. I think it will be neater to first go in with the long edges and then to fold these up. On this one, I did it the other way. I folded in the little tabs first, and that's fine, but when it's finished, this is what you see. And like I said, we'll cover up a lot of that. It's a nitpicky little detail, y'all, but so you just decide which way you want to do it. But what I would say is, next you want to condition these two long sides. Actually, you'll be doing all three. I've already done my one, but just kind of condition it. I did not score it with the bone folder. I'm just wrapping it around because it's so thick. And once you get it conditioned, I even run the bone folder along the sides. I already did it over here. And then you can put your adhesive. Okay, so you've got your side down and your bottom down, and now we're going to work on this little corner. And I will start with these two outer flaps, although I'm going to put the adhesive on all three because this is not a super quick drying glue. I have a little bit of time. So I'm going to put a good amount, get some in that little curve. And then I'm first going to just gently come up with this outer one and fold it up. You can kind of work it with your bone folder around that curve to help it even further. Do the same with this one. And then finally this last guy comes up like that. Now, before we put paper over on this cover, we are going to put some magnets so that we have a magnet closure on this album. If you don't have access to magnets, you can always add ribbon at this point and wrap it around, or any other kind of closure that you might want. Maybe it's two buttons with some twine joining them to close, just something to keep it closed. And so if you are using magnets, this is how I'm going to do it. I want to make sure that my album, when it lays down, is nice and square. I don't want it to be like this, and I don't want it to be out here like this. So I'm being very careful about holding it just how I want everything to be nice and squared up. And especially when I do this next step. So I'm going to take my little magnets here, and I'm just going to grab two of these pluses. And I know that I have to come inside a little bit on my paper. So I'm just going to peel off the sticker on here. The sticker backing. And I'm going to adhere that right close to that paper. And I'm going to do two magnets just to make sure it's nice and strong. Spaced out from each other just a little bit. So I'm going to put that one like down there. Okay, so now all I have to do is take my two negatives and pop them right on there. Okay, and then make sure to push those down and then peel off their little sticker backing. Easier said than done sometimes. Okay, and then this is the part where you want to be careful and make sure it's nice and square before you press this down. So I'm just kind of watching from the side over here. You could probably make a mark on your album. 1 inch, it's about an inch. You could make a mark if you were concerned about it not being straight, but I mean, that looks just how I want it to look, nice and square. And I've pressed those down, and now when I pull them apart, those magnets are over on that side and these stayed over here. And then I can cover everything with paper. So you're going to cover this side. I used the pink little floral from the Patterns and Solids. This piece is 4.5 by 6 1/4. And I've already inked this left edge, as you can see, with a little bit of that light brown ink. And I'm eventually going to put adhesive on my cover and do the same kind of wraparound, although we won't have a rounded corner on this side. So that'll be a little bit easier. I'll just cut a little diagonal snip and then fold everything in. All right, now we want to put on our spines, and as you notice, we have these little metal drop-ins here, little decorative things. So it's a little bit tricky, but it can be done to cover them and then leave that area exposed. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. I just make usually a template out of a piece of cardboard, and the opening around this area here is 1 3/8 by 2 5/8. That's this, okay? So you can make yourself a little template that measures that out of any piece of paper. And then for your border strips, and these are gonna wrap around. If they don't wrap around, it's a little different measure, but these are 2 and just barely a 1/16 by 5 7/8, both of them, okay? The yellow and the pink. And so you're going to score a 1/2 inch from one end. That's going to be your top. And I'll show you why in a minute. And then you're going to measure down 5/8 of an inch. And then you're going to lay your little template. Let's say this is your little template. You're going to lay it on your paper 5/8 of an inch below the 1/2 inch fold. And trace around it and then cut it away. Okay? We have a little extra here at the bottom, and we have our little fold at the top. So the reason why we're doing that is because if you look at the inside of my album and see how this is coming around, we're also going to do that with this piece so that it looks a little bit cohesive. Now you do have your little pages in the way here, so you've got to get underneath there, and it's close enough. We're going to cover this up and everything, so it's not a big deal, but let's get in there a little tighter. We want that to come around like that, so it looks really pretty when you look at it from the top. And then whatever's left at the bottom, which should be about 1/4 inch, we're going to fold that up. Now, it won't be as high as this, but that's because you can't get any higher past the pages down here. So I hope that makes sense. If not, y'all will have to let me know. So I'm going to repeat that with this yellow for the other side, and I'm going to get those onto my spines. Okay, and to fill inside of this pretty little frame, we're going to put little pieces of paper. They measure a little tiny bit more than 5/8 wide by 1 3/4. So I just cut that out. I'm going to alternate pink and yellow on each side. If the spine has pink paper, I'm going to put a yellow one, and so forth. So I'm going to get some glue on the back of there, and these just slide down in there. As I've been opening and closing my album, as I've been working on those spines, I feel like I want to put one more magnet on my cover. Now, you could always go back and do this before you put this paper on. I am going to be putting something over here anyway, so I don't mind doing it at this point, but I want to put one like right about there, because the top two, they're doing the job, but I just feel like it needs just a little bit more. So I'm going to put one right about 1 inch away and centered top and bottom, and then I'll get that other one on there, peel off that paper, and then bring my cover. Remember, we have to square this up, make sure the other magnets hit where they need to hit, which they just did. I felt it happen, and then I can squeeze that. And now we have a magnet there, and then we have 3 over here. And I feel like that's going to be a little bit better. This is where you can get a little distracted by working on your cover. But really, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my process. Right now, I've laid out all the die cut assortment and some lace, and I'm just kind of playing around. But, you know, I honestly know that I really shouldn't be working on this just yet. But by doing this now, I'm not going to put anything down, but just getting a plan, that helps me know what pieces I will have available to me later throughout the album. So I can put these items aside if I'm happy with what I'm seeing, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I am going to probably add some lace to this outer edge here and over here. So I have those ready. Those will go on later. Kind of liking what's happening here. But I just wanted to mention like a couple of things. So instead of this being just this cut apart from the paper, this is from, the sheet is called If the Shoe Fits, and it's just a 4x6 cut apart. I mounted it onto like some medium weight chipboard just to raise it up a little bit, give it a little more dimension so that when you have some things sticking out from underneath it, it's not at the same level. So it gives just a little more interest and dimension to do that. And then this is one of the die cuts, and then of course these three are die cuts, and I'll show you what I'll do with those later. But I'm just getting a plan, and I'm kind of liking how this is looking, and I love this beautiful banner. So I may shape that a little and get some foam tape under there later, but I'm thinking that would be nice over here. And you can see I'm not really centering her. I have her over a little bit so we can see this and this. And so this looks nice coming over here in this bottom corner. Now, it still feels like it needs something, and I'm not quite sure yet if it will be flowers up in here. There's so many pretty flowers. I hate to cover them up on the actual cut apart. I do have some leaves. So I'm just gonna put those aside because I'm not sure, and we'll come back to that. Another option could be, and I kind of want to do this, I like the idea of having something else extend up here like it does down here. So I'm thinking about putting this little frame here. It kind of gets lost right now, but I think if I sand it a little bit on the edges and then ink it with some ink, that'll help that stand out more. If I flip it to this side, it's a little too much blue. I like the pink coming over. You also have this one as an option that has a lot of pink in it. That looks pretty too. So I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both of those and I'm just going to put them aside for now. Like, I don't want to use them in the book yet until I decide for sure. And same with all these little pieces. I'm just going to tuck them away until later because we don't want too much bulk on our cover while we're working on our inside pages. All right, you remember this flap was the one where we had the third magnet that we added here. So I've just put this cut apart on here, and you can pick whichever one you like. I did pick the one that says Forever Friends with a little journaling area, but you have all kinds of choices in the paper collection for that. All right, next we have our inside front cover and our inside back cover. And I've used this gorgeous paper. It's probably my favorite in the whole thing, called Simply the Best, and it's stunning. And there's words in the background. So when you cut out your paper and you get ready to glue it down, make sure that your words, if you're a stickler for details, you can read them right side up. I did accidentally stick this one on upside down, and I fixed it really quick. So the measure on these, this one is 7 inches by 4 3/4. And of course I rounded those two corners just like my covers. And then this one is 3 7/8 by the 4 3/4. So I glued those in there and burnished those down really well. And then I thought, I don't love, you know, this here incomplete look. So I am going to, I've cut some strips. Each of them are 3/8 wide by 4 3/4. And they are gonna go there to make that nice and finished and pretty. And then if you open up, you see this big wide gap between what I'll call these signatures. I'm going to add that here as well. So this will give it a nice finished pretty look when you're flipping through your pages. And so here is the problem with process videos, because in hindsight I think I would have put these strips down first and then done the fold over top and bottom. It's a small detail. It doesn't bother me too much, but you might be going through saying, why did she do that after she folded that stuff down? So I'm sorry. That's why I say watch the video through fully one time before you start, because I correct myself sometimes and I add things after the fact. So at this point, I will start to kind of make a plan for my little pages here. And Since it's a process video and I'm kind of doing this as we go, I'm just going to start with covering the pages very simply, and then I can go back and do any kind of embellishment. Each one of these pieces of paper are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 when it's a full page like this. So all these, and these are, you know, various papers from the collection and from the patterns and solids. Now, when you come into a situation where you have a pocket page like this, it's still 3 1/4, but this measure, and these are just barely tacked down here, this measure is 2 7/8. Okay, so this piece is going to be a short little squatty square, and then this guy is also 3 1/4 wide by 1 1/4 tall. Okay, and that is the same measure every time you see something like that. All right, so with that being said, I did start to put down the papers that I like, and what I've done for mine, you can do whatever you like, is I'm just doing a mirror image. So green background and a cut apart and so forth, okay? So this is how mine will go. You can dress yours up however you like. Okay, so now that I have that kind of ready, I mean, this is just sort of tacked down with some removable adhesive for now, and that's what I like to do when I'm kind of designing things, is just get yourself some, you know, repositionable adhesive and just tack things down. I'm gonna pick this stuff up, I'm gonna ink all the edges later, but just to get a plan, this is what I do. And so you saw that there are tags in a lot of these little pockets. These are the little ATC tags. I have the die to cut the paper to fit. If you don't have that, you can always trace the tag and then stick it down. You'll have to repunch that hole, and your paper will go out to the edge. But as you can see, the die is set up so it gives it a little bit of space all the way around. So I went ahead and die cut 4 from this paper, which is the B side of whatever that paper is, and then 4 from the B side of the signature page. So there are 4 tags on each album, and I'll go ahead and get those on there. And just for fun, I don't know how many of these I will use or which ones exactly yet, but these are cut aparts from one of the pages too. These cute little playing cards. So those will probably go on my little ATC tags. So let me kind of play around with that and I'll show you what I come up with. Okay, I have all my little pages glued into place. I've inked the edges, and they're still very plain for now. But before I go any further to embellish those, I went ahead and I covered all my little tags, and I added those cute little playing cards on those 4 and the same on these 4. Really cute, right? So these will be fun to put in the pockets, and you can flip them over and write little journaling things on here or add photos. So those are done and ready. And so before I go on and embellish more of the pages, we have this pocket back here, remember? So I'm kind of working out some ideas here. I think not a lot's gonna fit in here, so I'm gonna add just some card inserts. This is basically ivory cardstock cut 6 1/2 by 4 1/2, and then the cut aparts are 4 by 6 from the paper. And on the back, I did 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mats from the patterns and solids. So we have this pretty one here, this one here with pink on the back, and then this one with the green on the back. So these are very pretty, and they can fit right into that pocket. I tried to do a 4th one, and it was just a little bit too tight for mine. I think I came in a little too far with the glue, so I'll just save that for something else, but 3 fits in there very nicely. Okay, so now I'm thinking about decorating this panel here, and I have some things I've cut apart from the papers. I cut out all these queens here, and I think I'm gonna kind of put those in there. I'm gonna trim off all this off the bottom, and then this was just fussy cut off of one of the pages. So I think I will add that there, and this will be pretty much done in here. Okay, moving right along. Now we have these side loading pockets in each of the albums there's 4, and I'm just going to simply put in a little insert like this. And all this is a piece of, this one's the patterns and solids in the yellow. This one is this paper from the collection. All of them will be the same size, and I will alternate between the 2 patterns as I go through each of the side loading pockets. So these measure 6 3/4 by 4, and then I just fold them in half. I'll glue that together and I'll round the corners. So I've started to do that, and of course I will ink the edges of all of them and then alternate them as I put them back into the side pockets. All right, I have all my little inserts done. I have adorned all my pages, and I have worked on my cover, and I think I'm happy, and I think that I'm finished. So I'm going to take you through every single page very slowly, because this is a tutorial, and that way you can pause and work on a page if you so choose, and that will make it easier for you to see what I've done. But for the cover, as we discussed at the very beginning, I did end up using the flowers that I had and a couple of leaves. So if you have something like that, that's great on these opposing corners. But all these wonderful little embellishments are the die cut assortment. And of course, this is a cut apart from one of the papers that was mounted on that chipboard piece. And then I did add the lace to the left and the right. It's optional. I think it kind of covers up that seam there a little bit nicer. And then of course we have our sides. And the back I've left plain on mine, but you could always do something back there. So this is how the front looks. And then when we open it up, on the left, all I did is add that little cut apart label in case you wanted to write a dedication to whoever this album would be for, or for yourself. I added these, as we saw from the front, from the die cut assortment, and this was already on here from earlier. And then when we open it up, I tried to stay with the whole plan of sort of a mirror image somewhat. So these first 2 pages that fold in, I have split apart that large die cut clock piece and then just glued the halves onto the page like that. And then these are stickers flanking the outside edge. Okay, and then when we flip in, I'm going to work on this left side first, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see. So the same thing is happening over on the other side, but I will show you so you can see just little bits of differences between maybe the sticker that I used. So this is from one of the papers. It's just a cut apart border on that paper. And then this is our first pocket page, and this is a sticker. So the opposing one, same thing, only this is the sticker this time. Okay, this little insert, okay, because I did it from this side. I was thinking, why did I put that on that side? It's blank on the front, and on the other side, I cut apart, this is a sticker, I cut apart this little border sticker, just a little piece of it, and then this is a sticker as well. So that actually goes in the first side loading pocket this way. Okay, so next page is this little tag, and I did end up adding some kind of buttery yellow golden ribbon to match all the yellow in the rest of the album. So there's our first little tag. This is sticker borders, and you'll find that when you go to cut this and put it down, it isn't long enough to reach all the way across. So I just cut it short, and then I used one of the die cut assortment hearts on this end. And then this is plain. So over here, similar, same 2 border stickers, and then the heart is the yellow one. And then of course this tag looks like this. All right, then we go back over here, and we've got our green pages. This is very simple. This is a cut apart. Actually, no, this is a sticker, border sticker, and this is a die cut assortment flower. And the other side is exactly the same because I had enough to do exactly the same. Okay, and then we flip to this next page, which is all the blue. So this was already done, we knew that. And then this side, this is a sticker. little cake. And then the other side is very similar in shape, and it's the hat. A very fancy hat with flowers. Okay, then our next, so it's blank on this side, the next pull out, and then it has that little cake sticker in the corner. And then we flip the page and we have this. And so this is one of the die cut assortments. Here's our next tag, same little golden ribbon. And then the opposing side has a little blue butterfly this time, and the tag very similar. Okay. Then over here we have the pink pages sticker, Forever Friends, and then the little photo corner sticker just in that upper left. And then this is from the die cut assortment, Treat Yourself. I think, wait, let me feel it. It might be a sticker. Sometimes I can't remember. You guys check me. That might be from the die cut assortment. Yes, it is, because I left it a little free under here with no glue, so you could put a photo under here. So that's from the die cut assortment. I added just a little bit of twine there. So on this side over here, again, this is a sticker that says Forever Friends. Oh, and you know what? This one over here is not a sticker. This is from the die cut assortment. And then this one is a sticker over here. And this is from the die cut assortment as well. Okay, then we have our next page is all the green here. This is a sticker, this border here, and this is a sticker. This page we've already seen, and our little pull out on this one has a border sticker cut with a V cut here, and this is also a sticker with the pretty bird on it. So this other side is almost exactly the same. Border sticker, sticker, and then this pull out is, have I been showing you these on this side? Same thing. Okay. Okay, just a few more to go. This next one is our blue. Has our little tag here with the gold ribbon again. This is a border sticker that's been cut. I think on this one I had to cut it down the middle to get it all to work. You'll find out when you start working. So do all your embellishments last, but this is a little sticker to cut, to cover up the cut that happens there. And then of course this butterfly is from the die cut assortment. So over here, looks a little bit different. Same deal here. We've got our little tag here. And then just a little different butterfly here with the flowers. Okay, and then we have our yellow spread over here. And this is just one big die cut from the die cut assortment. And so the one on the opposing side is this one. And then we have this. So this is simply from the, yeah, I think that's from the die cut assortment. And so the opposing one is also. So you're starting to see the mirror here. Okay, and then this one has this scalloped circle sticker in the corner. And the one over here has the other scalloped circle sticker. Okay, and then we have this spread here, this little pretty tag with the same gold ribbon. And this is from the die cut assortment. And then over here, this is from the die cut assortment as well, and our tag with the ribbon. Okay, and then our last one, we already saw these, I think, is the green page on the right and the green page on the left. And then there's our center again with our little pullouts where we can add some photos on these photo mats in the back. Nice big cards. And those just fit really nicely into our pocket that's been all decorated here. So there we go. That is our album with Ephemera Queen, all complete with 2 albums inside to create one big fun interactive mini album. And remember, you can get all your favorite Graphic 45 products from your favorite scrapbook stores or online stores, or directly from Graphic 45 at g45papers.com. I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this fun tutorial, making 2 albums into one. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.